Oh man.
Hey, Old Man on the Mat crew, this is Tony Jones coming at you with another great episode of Old Man on the Mat. Guys, yes, I say it every stinking time. I'm fired up about life. Life is good. I hope you're having a great day because I'm having a great day. Oh, man, every day you take a breath is a good day. So today I'm fired up, but let's always start out with, guys. Listen, hey, I appreciate everything you guys are doing with all the merch and the support on all the different platforms, man. I'm getting like humbled. I was just telling Jimmy here that I think we're bigger than Joe Rogan, but I did send him an attachment on something. I haven't heard back yet, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But guys, listen up. This guy. I'm excited to talk to you about. Let you hear this guy. He's a retired Marine. He earned his Purple Heart. He's an MMA practitioner. Listen to this man's story. This is really good stuff. With that, guys, I give you Jimmy Gentili. Tilly.
Yeah, Gentilly. Thank you very
God
much.
dang
I
it, I
got it.
practiced it too. Sorry about that. I got a simple name, Jones, man. Come
Yeah.
on. Brother, I'm excited to have you on, man. I found you through you ordered one of our shirts and I got a chance to go back and forth with your wife, man. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked your product. I went on there, I've been doing MMA for a long time and started really getting into some more jiu-jitsu and grappling, and I was like, man, I like whiskey, I like cigars. It's got a gorilla with a cigar in its mouth. That is so me, and that's why I really just loved it.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I tell you,
Yeah.
at my age, I'm looking out there, and I still grapple a little bit, and I drink
Yeah.
too much bourbon. Uh,
Yes.
puff on too many cigars. In fact, because right now I'm out here in Kentucky, just doing some traveling with a friend out here, and we went to a what was that? What one of the bourbon tours, man. And I tell you, when that thing was over, they need to drag me out of there, man. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. But man,
Yeah.
hey, tell me your story, man. I'm fired up because I'm telling you, just hearing your wife talk about you. Then we talked a little bit. Well, I mean through Instagram, and
Uh-huh.
man, I love your story, man. Just reading the stuff you put out there, it's good stuff. How did everything start with you? Tell me, let's just jump into where you want to jump in. Tell me about your story, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't tell my story without giving a little bit of background in my time in the Marines, especially
Yeah.
with tomorrow being the anniversary of when I received my Purple Heart when I was wounded.
Wow.
So I went into the Marines in early 2001, even before 9/11. I was in boot
Wow.
camp when that happened. So I immediately knew as I was in boot camp and 9/11 happened that we were going to be going to war. And it was made very clear. Went in as an infantry Marine. I was like, you know what? I just want to be on the ground shooting rifles. I had no idea. I just
Oh
thought I
man.
want to be a Marine. I think someone told me, "Hey, you're not tough enough to be a Marine." I said,
Oh
I'll show
jeez.
you. I'll show you."
Oh man.
And that's my big story about being a Marine. And so I went through all the training, boot camp, School of Infantry, everything, and got assigned to Golf Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, out at Camp Pendleton. And we did a couple of deployments over to Southeast Asia on the 31st MEU, and then the war in Iraq broke out,
Wow.
and we thought we missed it. The original war was we were on ship, and they said, "No, we need you to sit on ship over in Southeast Asia," and they did the initial invasion in '03. So
Wow.
we came back in 2-4, same time 4th Marines 2-4. We used to call ourselves 2-4 no war, and we were
Okay.
so mad. We're 2-4 no war. We're like, what's going on? We're Marines, and we were mad.
Oh
And we
man.
came. And so we came back and we got a little bit of time off, and then went right back into training. They said, "Well, you guys said no war. Well, you're going over to Iraq, so get ready." And we did a workup and got ourselves, deployed over to Iraq in early 2004. So I think it was about late January, early February, somewhere in there of 2004. As we went over, we flew into Kuwait, and then we traveled up. We escorted some air wing up into Ramadi or up into Iraq, and then we went over to Ramadi. And at that time in 2004, I have the USA Today article somewhere. It said
Right.
the combat outpost, which is where we were at in Ramadi, it was the most dangerous place on earth. And to
Wow.
me, as a young kid, a young Marine who thought I was tougher than anything, was like, "This is the coolest thing ever."
Yeah.
Now, as I get older, if I would have heard that about my kids or myself, I would have been very nervous. But you
Yeah.
think you're indestructible.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so so in Ramadi, I was at that time I had been in the Marines for a couple years, and I was a team leader, four-man team, and a 13-man squad. And we had done some training with the British SAS, with some Australians, things like that, doing what's called satellite patrolling, to where you would have a squad is three four-man teams and a squad leader, 13, and you would cover three streets. So say you have three streets that run parallel to each other, you would each cover a street and you'd move through. And so we separated out and we moved through. And on uh, April 6th of '04, we were, we had run many patrols through the city. We had taken shots. We'd been in firefights. We
Oh
had
wow.
mortars dropped on us
What?
um,
Holy
all the
cow.
time. We were in, really intense area. It was a Saddam favored area. They didn't want us there. And so we're running these patrols and and we learned later that, I mean, this is a good tactic, but it did separate us. And on the 6th, we're going out, and we were told we had some CIA intel people there that were telling us, "Hey, you're going to get hit." And we would joke, "Yeah, sure, whatever. We've taken a few shots. You keep telling us we're going to take fire, but we never really do. Whatever," and blew it off. Well, they were
Wow.
right. And um, we were moving through on patrol. Took some shots. We saw where it came from. Went in, started clearing a house, found some weapons, things like that. And then I got a call over the radio that our squad, I was in first squad, Gulf Company Third Platoon, first squad, third squad was hit. So on that day when we left, first squad satellite patrol straight through the city. Second went straight to this government center that we were going to run patrols out of. We are going to spend a few days there and run patrols out of that. And then third squad kind of went around the city. We were trying to control that city, and they had been hit. So we need to move. And so on a patrol, you're kind of walking.
Hmm.
On a movement to contact, you're staying in a patrol formation, but you're moving.
Okay.
And I remember as we stepped off there, I looked down, and one of my friends, Derek Halal, who was our point man, was getting some information from our squad leader. And they were talking over, and he just looked up and he gave me this big goofy smile. And and he was about 6'5", 6'6", big guy. And then we took off and we moved and towards where we thought we were trying to get to them. And the funny thing is the street, everything has a brevity code, which means, hey, we named it something different.
Okay.
These different street names, just more realistic. And that brevity code for the street we turned onto was Easy Street. Easy Street was the toughest day of my life.
Wow.
We turned on to Easy Street, and as soon as the last guy at the end of our squad got onto Easy Street, they opened up on fire on us from 360 ambush, elevated positions, and so
Wow.
we immediately returned fire. And in that on that street, we're just trying to gain that foothold. We're trying to stay alive. We're stuck in the street, and we return fire, and then we cease fire and trying to because it had a little bit of a lull, and
Yeah.
no one was hit initially. We're like, wow,
Oh,
they
praise
opened
God.
up on
Wow.
us, and no one was hit. And we thought, okay, well, we have to get in these houses. We have to start clearing the houses, kicking in doors. And so myself and I would take one other guy kicking a door and clear a house.
Wow.
And we're clearing the house, and we're trying to just figure out what's going on. And little did we know, I gave you a little link there, or said something about Battle of Ramadi. This was the
Yeah.
beginning of the Battle of Ramadi, and they had full on attacked us throughout the city.
Wow.
And so we weren't able to get any support in. Where we were at, we couldn't call for fire. Helicopters wouldn't come in. It was too hot of an area, too much fire.
Wow.
And
So
so
you guys are on your
we
own
were
kind of thing.
we were on our own.
Wow.
And so as we were on Easy Street, I'm just trying to go door to door, clear the house, keep my team moving, and then we're holding security. I have myself on one corner, I have one of my other guys, Martinez, on the other side, and they keep coming up on us. We're firing on them. We're dropping them as fast as we can.
Mm.
They keep coming up on us. Uh, and then I have rear security, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do to try and get out of this. And we're doing our best to conserve ammo, but they're
Yeah.
just continuing to come at us from everywhere.
Wow.
Um, a car came flying up on me. I opened fire on that, and um, it stopped the car. They were all gone, obviously, but I think the driver or someone in there did get out, but the rest ran. And then I'm just trying to gain that, just hold that spot. And
Yeah.
I'm down there in the corner. I came across the street. I've got my rear security, and then one of the other teams in the squad was moving on to down the road to cover another area. And I heard someone yelling at me, and I was like, "Dude, who's yelling at me?" Because I'm on the corner of the street, and it was one of our guys, Langhorst, who was in a different team.
Mm.
And what? And I'm realizing that he got separated when we were clearing houses and
Oh
all the
wow.
chaos. And so he's yelling, he's trying to connect to me. And I was in the corner, and I said, "Hey, left door's open, right door's closed." Because if you've ever seen like a lot of these third world countries, there's a
Mm-hmm.
big concrete wall and these metal doors that they go around outside of the house, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
little courtyard and then the house.
Okay.
And I was yelling, and I'm trying to explain where I was at, and he just couldn't figure it out. And I got mad. I was like, this idiot, whatever, like he can't find me.
Wow.
So I'm on a knee, and as I start to get up, and in this, we've taken a lot of fire. I start to get up, move to my left to go, go towards him, and I feel and hear all these rounds cracking and popping around me. And
Ugh.
if anyone has ever been downrange, when I was in the Marines, when you go on the rifle range to qualify, you spend half your day in the pits pulling
Mhm.
targets. And so as soon as you hear that crack and then pop, and then you pull the target, it's a distinct noise. You can
Yeah.
tell the rounds flying over your head. And I always tell people it's like that. You hear that, but then it got really loud and closer. And then I felt and heard a loud pop.
Mm.
And immediately it dropped me to my knees, and I saw blood just pouring everywhere. I
Wow.
couldn't breathe. And so I was struggling to breathe. I reached up, and just my whole face was open. And
Oh
what had
my
happened
gosh.
was I was shot in the face from an AK 7.62 by 39.
Phew.
And as I was going for laying horse, it came in this because they're elevated positions right through here,
Yeah.
severed my external carotid artery, came out the front of my face here,
Holy
shattered
cow.
the whole right side of my face. And later I found out I had what's called a left pneumothorax, which is a collapsed lung.
Oh
And so
wow.
it had collapsed my lung from the impact. So I was trying to catch my breath, and you ever had your wind knocked out of you? I'm like, why
Yeah.
can't I get my breath?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I was struggling to do that, and I was like, "Well, I got to get to Langhorst and I'm trying to get to him. I'm pouring blood out, and they've opened up fire again, and I can't have people come get me." And as I tried to get to him, the rounds that went for me also they went in, and he was killed. He was shot 5 times
Oh my
right inside that
gosh.
door and
Wow.
killed.
Wow.
And so I knew that I had to get back to my team. They couldn't get to me because
Yeah.
I was pinned down. If they came to me, they would have been wounded as well, could have been killed, whatever. So I waved Martinez back. I looked back, my squad leader, and our platoon sergeant happened to be with our squad that day. He was back there, and our radio operator about two houses down in a doorway and trying to call in support. And I ran back to them, um, and to get back to them, and they said it was just like stumbling. And my old platoon sergeant said it's like when your kid is at the park and they get hurt and they're just done.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
that look they have on their face when they
Yeah.
come up to you. And I got back to them. We took over a house. As we went in there, we cleared the house, we took it over, and in the front room there, and they pulled out pressure dressings. I had a you carry two in your first aid kit, and then
Yeah.
we actually carried an extra one in the little pocket on the sleeve. And I was just pouring blood through that because it severed my external carotid artery.
Oh
I
my
should have been dead
gosh.
almost immediately.
Wow.
Um, but I knew that I needed to take a knee, keep my head above my heart, not bleed out, stay calm.
Wow.
And so as I am doing that, I'm trying to just hold pressure myself. I don't want them to worry about me. We're still taking heavy fire. We're pinned down. We're they're I mean, they're constantly coming and trying to get us at the door. There was a family in this house at the
Mm.
same time, and they were huddling and hiding,
Yeah.
and they brought me towels. And so I was very appreciative of that, obviously
Wow.
bringing towels for that, and also to see that, hey, not everybody out here is trying to kill us.
Yeah.
There are good people here, and they're just wanting to survive themselves. And so I had towels. I kept pressure on on there, took a knee, just trying to make sure I stay alive. And as I'm sitting there, and we're fighting, but they're still fighting. I'm mostly holding pressure in this house. And like, don't worry about me. We got to stay alive. We had these little headset radios, PRRs. They were inter squad radios. And I heard over that Derek Clow, who I talked about earlier, our
Yeah.
point man, gave me that big goofy smile. I heard that he was wounded.
Mm.
And they said he was
Wow.
shot in the leg. And so and because one of our other teams he was with um, had been cut off from us. And my
Yeah.
best friend, Joe Hayes, who I'd been friends with my entire time in the Marines, still very close friends with him today.
Yeah.
He was the team leader on that team, calling it over, and they were going to get him off the street. And then seconds later, I heard he's KIA, killed
Ugh.
in action.
Wow.
And what had happened was they were carrying him off the street, and he took a shot to the head. And
Oh.
as they were carrying him, and so he was killed.
Wow.
Best One of my good friends, Pete Flom, who was best friends with Derek, and they had been through everything together. He just looked down, and I said, "You got to snap out of it. We got to get out of here."
Wow.
So he snapped out of it at the moment. But we're trying to figure out how do we get together. I'm shot. I'm dying. I'm pouring blood out. We've lost two guys already. Um, we're trying just to get some support here, get some help.
Wow.
In that time period, I didn't see this, witness this because they were separated from us, but they also had a grenade thrown in at them,
Oh my
Joe Hayes and that
gosh.
group. And Joe and one of my guys, Ortiz, they jumped down and they huddled together. And Joe threw his arm over Ortiz's neck, and that's where Joe took shrapnel. So if his arm wasn't there, it would have gone through his neck,
Oh my gosh.
and took it in the arm. And then Ortiz took it in his arm. And so they're still with us today.
Oh,
They
praise
have
God.
obviously lasting injuries,
Wow.
but they were blown up pretty bad. Um, and eventually we were pinned down. I've read the after action report we've got together. We got together last year because it was the 20-year anniversary. And I read through it and it was about an hour. It felt like way more, but it
Yeah.
was an hour and me bleeding out like that. We were pinned down.
Holy cow. Wow.
And then just trying to call for support, trying to call for support, trying to and get some help, figure out what we're gonna do. And then I can hear a 50 caliber machine gun, big heavy machine gun, and a Mark 19, which is a machine gun that shoots 40 millimeter grenades.
Oh
And
man.
I could hear, doo. And I was like, oh, that's friendly, awesome.
That's really, you need the
Finally,
sound.
yeah. And I was
Wow.
like, all right, they're coming in. They drive in, and it was our weapons company that were mechanized, so they were on Humvees. And they looked over at me and they said, "Can you walk?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I can walk." And I'm hurting by now. My jaw's shattered, everything's shattered.
Yeah.
I could stick my hand in my face. This hole was the exit
Holy
wound.
cow.
It was, I was in rough shape, and I started to get out, and we went out the door, started to walk, and enemy opened up on us again. And so we dropped down. They turned that 50 cal Mark 19 and just destroyed whatever building was over that way. And they looked back at me and said, "Can you run?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can run."
Oh man. After all that, hell yeah.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
I run out there and they put me in the back of this Humvee. And I remember telling my squad leader and platoon sergeant, I was sorry. I said, "I'm sorry that I'm leaving you guys.
Wow.
You guys are staying in the fight and I have to leave there because I have to medevac."
Yeah.
And I know that they always told me, they said, "If you did die, I would have brought you back from death just to kill you again from saying that." But
Oh man. Man.
um, I got whenever you go on a patrol, you have a predefined casualty collection point. You have a couple of them. You have a lot of things in your patrol order.
Yeah.
They took us to this predefined casualty collection point where we met up with Joe Hayes, Ortiz, Derek Lau's body. We had Lane Horst, we had other wounded from third squad that initially that we were going to go help. And I pull up there, and Joe and I had known each other for multiple years, been through a lot of training together, lived in the barracks. We were roommates together. I mean, knew each other really well.
Yeah.
And he looked over and he didn't recognize me. And I thought,
Oh
oh,
wow.
wow, this is bad.
Yeah.
And then he did, and he makes a joke. My dad's from Sicily, and I've got a big Sicilian nose. He goes, "I knew it was Jimmy because of a big Sicilian nose." And I was like, "Thank you, appreciate it."
There you go.
And so he came over there, and then he asked if he could go, because he was getting medevaced, and then if he could go with me. And initially they said yes, and they're like, "Wait, get out." And what happened was, because I was in, I don't remember if it's 50 cal Mark 19, but with the machine gun, they needed that to stay.
Yeah.
And they had a high back Humvee, which is like a big truck bed,
Mm.
and they wanted us all in there, and they were gonna get us out to the little MASH unit hospital and then medevaced out. Um, so I got out, I walked over there, and had everybody in the back of the Humvee. Joe jumped in the passenger seat, and there was nowhere for me to go. And Derek's body was laying there, and
Mm.
they told me, they said, "He's dead. He can't feel it. Just jump on him." And I was like,
Oh wow.
no." I said,
Wow.
"Absolutely not. I'm
Wow.
moving him." And I moved. I was like, "I'm not sitting on him." And but I did get in there, and then
Yeah.
they drove through. They jumped curbs, and I remember getting mad. 'Cause I'm like, man, my jaw's really starting. Adrenaline's wearing off. I'm
Yeah.
starting to hurt.
Yeah.
uh, my jaw, I'm pouring blood, and then they take us to this Junction City, which was like an Army MASH unit hospital. And it was our closest urgent type care until they can medevac you to Baghdad and then to Germany and everything
Yeah.
like that. And when they took us to the gate, they searched the Humvee. They were doing like checking stuff. And I'm like, "We're dying.
Yeah.
Let us through." And then eventually they let us through. They took us to this MASH unit hospital. And from there, I remember they said, "If you can walk, get out and walk." And I kind of walked, and they were carrying my buddies in. And then they started cutting my camis off. And I remember I was like, "Wait, are you cutting my clothes off?" And then cutting everything off. And then
Wow.
they put an IV in me and they told me to just lay back and, go to sleep. And I was like, no, I've fought this long to stay alive. Well, obviously you have no choice. They're putting meds through the
Right,
IV.
right.
And so I had gone out at that point, and what I'd found out later was in that time period, because of I had a collapsed lung, they give me a tracheostomy
Yeah.
because of the breathing. My heart had stopped multiple times, so they brought
What?
me back a few times.
Wow.
And they eventually got me medevac to Baghdad, to where I spent 2 days in Baghdad just to be stable enough to put on a medevac flight, which is it's a flying hospital,
Yeah.
and to take me to Germany. And then I spent 2 days in Germany, 2 days there, and until they could keep me stable and then get me to Bethesda National Medical Center in Maryland.
Wow.
And when and during that time period, Joe had been medevaced as well, and we got separated because he wasn't as critical.
Hmm.
But then they ended up sending him to Germany, and in Germany, he called my dad for me, told him, because they let my dad know that I was wounded. They
Yeah.
didn't tell him how bad it was, and he let him know the situation.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't talk, and I remember he held the phone up so my dad could just talk to me.
That's awesome, man.
And then when I got to Maryland, I know that they brought me into I think it's Andrews Air Force Base, which is where Air Force One flies in and out
Oh,
of.
yeah.
So my dad wanted to go to there and they said you can't because it's too secure,
Yeah.
but just wait here. And they brought me off, and what had happened was they disconnected all my stuff from the airplane to go to the ambulance to take me to the hospital. And they said that they told my dad I was literally bucking on the gurney because I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do that. I was like, wow.
Oh, man.
So I was in pretty rough shape.
Yeah.
Apparently when they were waiting for me in this time period, they also came up and they handed my dad a folded flag, and he said, whoa, you told me he was alive.
Holy
And
cow.
and they said, yeah, he is. We just flew it in his honor. He goes, your presentation skills and timing suck.
Right? Oh, my gosh. The up and down emotions. Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so I spent, and I apologize going that much into, I know
No,
I want to be able to tell that
no,
part of
we
the
want to hear
story
it
because
all,
that'll
man. Tell it
tell
all.
me, yeah. But I spent a month and a half at Bethesda in ICU,
Yeah.
and until they decided I was stable enough. I was out of Camp Pendleton, and they wanted to get me back out there and then go to the Naval Medical Center in San Diego at Balboa,
Okay.
and get some treatment there. But I was on, in ICU for a long time, and then they finally thought I was stable enough. One of the things they did find out in that time period was because of the injury on this side, I'm blind in my right eye now,
Oh, wow.
um, because everything was shattered, and my orbital socket was shattered. My eye fell, which stretched the optic nerve, which sent the signal to your brain. That
Yeah.
caused me to go blind in my right eye.
Wow.
So I lost vision in my right eye. I lost the whole right side of my face. I mean, my mandible was shattered in multiple places. My maxilla, which is the upper part of your jaw, is gone.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
I've been reconstructed, but everything was gone. And I do remember that I said, "Hey, I just want to see what I look like."
Yeah.
And um, they brought me a mirror, and I was like, "This is rough," but I wanted to get to this part because it'll kind of help later. Is a doctor early on told me, he goes, "Hey, we can fix you.
Mhm.
It's just going to take time and patience."
Okay.
And I that's something that's stuck by me, is like nothing is ever right now.
Yeah.
Everything is always going to take time, patience, pain,
Yeah.
and and my dad also, I think I put this when I said it, he told me early on, he just said, "Hey, don't make this your legacy. Don't be the guy who was shot in the face.
Mm.
Be something else." And so I
Wow.
always kept those things in my mind as I went through that, was like, "Hey, this is not going to get me. I know it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot in my time as a Marine. I've been through a lot here. So continuing to go through that. That was in April 6th of '04, so
Yeah.
21 years now.
Yeah.
In that time period, I've had 50 surgeries to reconstruct my face.
Wow.
I've had skin taken from my forehead, brought down to reconstruct my nose. I've had bone taken out of my tibia. I've had skin grafts from my legs, stuff from my ears, everything
Yeah.
just to completely reconstruct my face.
Wow.
Um, Fake teeth put in, things like that. And so completely reconstructed, which sometimes my wife gets frustrated that I do MMA and Jiu-Jitsu,
She's
but
like, sit down.
sit down, don't do that. But
Man.
that's they've done all of that. After in July of '06. Well, I was actually a little bit longer than my 4 years, and they kept me in going through surgery. They medically retired me July 31st, 2006,
Oh, wow.
because of all of my injuries at 100% disabled.
Wow.
But I knew that I didn't want to just, I was 20, let's see, 2023.
Mm,
I was like, I don't really want to, I don't want this to be my life. Like, what am I going to do? I got a long life ahead of myself.
absolutely.
So, um, I went back to school and then I got my bachelor's in computer science, well, information systems and then computer science from the University of Kansas,
Okay.
KU. And then I got into software engineering, and it was like I tell people, I'm like, I don't know, that bullet must have rattled something loose because I have no idea what got me into it, other than I took a programming class and I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And and I stuck with that, and I worked at a healthcare IT company here in Kansas City called Cerner for 8 years.
Wow.
And while I was there, I went back and did my master's in software engineering. So I have my master's from KU in software engineering as well. And I always take that, hey, don't make this your legacy. And it was really important to me. Is like when that got tough, I was like, I
Yeah.
always think back of those times. I mean, I could not be here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so continue to push myself. And I did that. And I did leave that company. I work at JB Hunt. I'm director of application development. We do all our transportation management
Oh,
software. And
wow.
I really enjoy that side of things. I moved up through the software engineering ranks up into a leadership position, and kind of goes back to my time in the Marines.
Yeah.
Um, and so a little bit of my backstory. I got into MMA because obviously being a Marine, I was always physical as a kid. I wrestled.
Yeah.
I'm the younger brother, so I
So
was
you
always
had
the
to
one
fight
that
for your
was had
life at
to, yeah,
home.
had to fight.
Yeah.
Um, I was, and I'd done all that, and I was like, I'm tired of just going to the gym and working out. That's a boring workout for me. And I did wrestling growing up, and I was like, there's an MMA gym in my town here, Glory MMA. I know James Krause. He was on the UFC or in the UFC at the time. He's was one of the co-owners, head coaches. There's a bunch of other people in there. I'm going to go in there and train.
Yeah.
And I went in there and I made sure I went in there humble.
Yeah.
Didn't go in there like I knew everything, listened. And it wasn't easy. I mean, when I first got there, it was a tough room.
Really.
We went in there and they had a lot of people that were in the UFC. They were focused on that. And hey, if you come in the door, sure, you can pay and train with us. And they were nice, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong,
Yeah.
but that wasn't their main focus. And
Yeah.
they didn't take it easy on you, and you took your licks and you just kept pushing through it. And I would bruised up, banged up, but I was like, man, I love this. And it
Yeah.
was just, and my wife's like, why? I said, you know why I love it? Because it reminds me of being in the Marines. It reminds me of when you're on the mats out there and you're just talking crap to each other. That's what we did in the Marines. And then
Yeah.
you're back in the locker room afterwards and you're just BSing. I was like, that's what it was like being in the barracks.
That
And that's what I
brotherhood.
love about this. I
Yeah.
love this brotherhood. I love this. And, they're going to be tough on you and push you to your limits,
Yeah.
but they're also going to take care of you. And it kind of brought that whole full circle. It was like being back in the Marines
Man.
and that part of it, and being in some kind of combat sport, like being in combat with them. And, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm getting older. I'm not going to do MMA fights. I've done some kickboxing things like that, just with headgear, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I've wrestled, I did MMA, I didn't do just jujitsu, but man, my ground game is not that great. I can
Hmm.
defend a takedown. I know a couple submissions. I can, take people down. And so I thought, I'm going to start going in on, there's a Saturday 9 a.m. practice. So I'm going
Yeah.
to start doing the Saturday 9 a.m. practice, and then I'm going to go to the open mat after, and I'm just going to go every Saturday. Then I started going, okay, well, I'm going to go to the no-gi Tuesdays as well as the MMA, and then the no-gi on Wednesday. And
Yeah.
then, I was like, and I've just,
It's addictive.
I think it is very
Yeah.
addictive, and there was a bigger growth there. Not saying it's going to sound like I'm being conceited. My
No.
striking isn't amazing. I know I've got a lot of growth there, but that was my strong suit,
Yeah.
whereas grappling wasn't. And so I was seeing bigger growth
Yeah.
as you continue to push through it.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was the addicting part of it. And then just being around all those guys, and then competing. And then I was like, oh, pushing ourselves to compete. And there's a group of us old guys that just went and did a tournament, there's a couple of us over 40 that were like, you know what, we're going to go do AGF.
Yeah.
And I entered that tournament, and I won that for
Yeah.
my bracket. And, I just, I love it. It's, for me, sure, I love to have a drink. I love to have my cigars,
Yeah.
all that,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be like the guys that I know that were in the Marines that drink so much or
Hmm.
do, have turned to all those other vices. And
Yeah.
this has helped me mentally with that part too. And so that's
That's
why I went
awesome.
so into detail of telling my backstory of that is
Yeah.
to say that this is what really drives me here is the brotherhood, but also it helps me mentally. It is, I tell all kinds of veterans, I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
man, you really should get in there. And I do meet a lot of veterans in there, so just stick with it.
Yeah.
It's tough, and I'll help you out. And everybody's here is going to be nice as long as you come in and you're humble
Yeah.
and you don't act like you're better than everybody, and you just it's they're going to work with you, and
Absolutely.
you're going to have tough days, and you're you're going to get you're going to sometimes what is that? You're going to be the hammer, you're going to be the nail. So
Yeah.
a lot of times you're going
Sometimes,
to be the
yeah.
nail,
I can't wait to be the
and
hammer. One of those days will come.
yeah, yeah.
Still the nail.
Right. And I absolutely, I love it. I mean, I was there today.
Nice.
I'm always in there and really good friends in there. And it's just, keeps me in shape, which is nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the best thing for me is just staying in shape.
Yeah. But listening to your story, man, a lot of the stuff, I
Mhm.
hear it out there, and I don't think people understand how important, martial arts is to guys. That we still can be men in there, and it takes that edge off of us, so we're not losing our crap over it for whatever
Yeah.
other reason. You know what I mean? And that friendship, that camaraderie, man, you hit it right on the head, man. It's a brotherhood in there, man, big time.
It is, and even with work, even though I'm, software development, you think, oh, well, that's whatever, that's easy. You're behind a computer. It's so frustrating, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you don't want to flip out on someone over that,
Yeah.
or it's
Exactly.
just it helps me get some of that aggression out,
Yeah.
and just go there and take my mind off of everything. Even my kids, not, I mean, love them, love
Oh,
all
yeah.
that, but just not even focusing on them. It's all about me. Be
Yeah.
selfish right now. Let's go out here.
But a lot of times when you're married with children, or even in life, I'm not going to say how I'm going to say this because I've been studying all these different books. I'm in these different book clubs and doing all these
Hmm.
different, well, reading all these different books that I used to read before. Um, when it comes to men, we don't get a chance to be selfish anymore. You know what I mean? We
Hmm.
can't just think about
Yeah.
ourselves. We have work, we have wives, we have kids, we have other people. We're not allowed to, be that, have that what do you say women say pampering time or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We don't get to pamper ourselves.
No, and my girls do. Oh boy, do they.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, man. But sometimes I think this is a new thing. This I won't say new, but you're seeing more of this where men are getting out of the norm every day and getting that group together, going and do something together. Maybe go
Yeah.
shooting in the woods, go hunting, go camping, or whatever. And I think that's so important, And in martial arts is that place, just like you're saying. That's that for me too.
Hmm.
Going and get beat up by a guy. And I don't think people really understand that. Getting beat up is like,
They don't.
ah,
Yeah, it's funny. My buddy Tuna and I, he's a big Samoan. His name's really long, so we just call him Tuna.
okay,
Um, I'm like, we talk about that. We're like, people just look at us always so weird. Like, you go do what for
yeah,
fun? And
right.
it's like, it is. It's fun. It's a challenge. I like the part of it. You just get a little bit better each time,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
or you figure something out that you've struggled with.
Yeah.
Just something small,
It's that
and
big chess match. That's what I've
yeah,
been in martial arts. So I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the first episode where I introduced myself in our first episode. I did all these martial arts when I was 8 years old, but you're always learning something in different arts. You go into Brazilian
yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu. What I'm doing now is like you're just saying. You learn something new, and you figure that piece of the puzzle that helps your game out a
Mhm.
little bit more. You feel great about it, man. It's like you had a win
Yeah,
for the day, man.
yeah. Feels great.
Oh, absolutely, man. So, how long have you been doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? You've been I think you said about a year now.
Yeah, a year, 2 years I've been doing jujitsu,
Okay.
actually focusing on that, not just doing the MMA part of
Yeah.
it with grappling. So about that. And I've been doing no gi. I was actually talking to one of the guys today. I was like, should I actually start doing gi? Because I feel like they keep ignoring me on belt
Yeah.
promotions and on
Right.
like, what's going on?
You don't have a gi, so you haven't put a belt on. So
Yeah,
there's that.
yeah. But then they call me a sandbagger whenever I go to these tournaments and enter in a white belt. And I'm
No.
like, well, I'm not going to promote myself.
Exactly, exactly, man. But, I'm like you. I love well, you like no gi, but you want to go. I do not
Yeah.
like no gi whatsoever. I don't know what it is, man. I just like putting on the gi and feel like there's, something, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But it can hide my fat too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. That is good. Yeah.
It's like I said, I'm out doing some traveling now. I'm out in Kentucky, and there's like several gyms close by. But I'm originally in Illinois. So
Okay.
now I'm in Kentucky, and there's a couple gyms really right down the road. I've just walked by them a little bit, drove by them. Like, I really want to get on that mat. I really want to get on that
Yeah.
mat.
They'll probably let you come in there. I know some guys that they'll go to Vegas for some convention, whatever,
Yeah.
and they'll go over to forget the gyms that are out there, but you can pay for a day pass
Oh,
and go
yeah.
do it. And they say they have no problem beating you up for a day.
Exactly. You're that new guy. It's fresh meat, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, listening to your story, man, I mean, that teamwork, that camaraderie. Now, let's back up a little bit. Now, I don't know if you can express any of this stuff, but, first of all, I appreciate your service. And I mean that. You know what I mean? I
Thank you.
mean that, dude. I mean it from the bottom of my heart because you literally put everything on the line for this country. And that's awesome, man. I appreciate you. Now, how were you feeling during those times when you were getting shot at? Was it still that young guy? I'm gonna conquer the world. No one's gonna touch me. But it was that so much adrenaline, or what?
No, it was adrenaline, fear, just scared out of my mind.
Okay.
Anyone that tells you they aren't
Okay.
is lying to you. It's if you ever go into any kind of fight, if you go even into a grappling tournament, just
Yeah.
that anxiety, that I mean, obviously at a higher level, heightened level, but you know that hey, I can act tough, but I know deep down I'm scared.
Yeah.
One of the things that we would always do is, so we were at the combat outpost in Ramadi, and it's this just tiny little base right in the city, right in the center. And we would get our patrol order, and we'd go through. We had a map room, and we'd go through all of that, and then we would check your weapons, and before you would step off. And one of the things we would always do is we would bring it in, and we would pray, and then just tell everybody, hey, we'll make it. Obviously we didn't all make it back, but we'll do our best to get everybody
Yeah.
back here. And that's when I think at that point is when it really sinks in. Every time you step over that line and you
Mm.
go out into that city, you know that they're trying to kill you.
Yeah.
You know that you may not come back. You know that it's very serious. And every time you continue to take more rounds down, rounds coming at you, you seeing your friends wounded, killed, it gets scarier and scarier, and you just got to fight through it, and you got to keep pushing forward because you can't stop. If you quit, then you're putting someone else in danger.
Wow.
And so,
Wow.
um,
That team
yeah,
spirit,
I
man.
would,
Wow.
yeah, and I would say it was definitely terrifying. If I think back on it, sure, there were times early on where you thought, hey, I'm so tough, but this, as soon as you take that first round at you,
Yeah. Yeah.
no
It's
way,
a
you're
wake
like,
up call.
yeah, whew, okay,
I'm
this is
done.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
Man.
it's scary. We lost 34 Marines and one Navy corpsman, 35 guys in that deployment, and
Holy
so
cow.
it was rough. It was one of the highest casualty rates of any unit,
Yeah.
and they said it was the biggest fight since Hue City in Vietnam. By the time we got to that, and so um,
Holy
I don't
cow,
know that those are
man.
records that I wanted to break.
Yeah, you don't want to be a part of that record, but it was.
Yeah, it
Holy
was,
cow, man.
and it was something that we live with, and it's. Uh, we try and get together. I know that on Memorial Day, one of the things we always do is we try and go to the city where one of our guys is buried, and
Yeah.
we get together, we hang out, act like fools,
Yeah.
and then we go over to that grave. And we've tried to do that every year,
Oh, man.
and just kind of stay there for each other because guys have had some tough times dealing with it. I like to say that I don't know how. I was blessed to be able to handle it better than others because and maybe it is, and I think a lot of it is the jiu-jitsu part of it and MMA part of it and all of that is, I always get asked is how do you handle it so well? I was like, I came so close to dying. I'm
Mm.
fighting and doing everything I can.
Yeah.
I want to live, I
Yeah,
want to,
right, right.
and so, I try and always talk to guys about that too. And so it's good for us to get together every year
Yeah.
on over Memorial Day, tomorrow being the anniversary of all of that. I'm sure I'll FaceTime all those guys and
Yeah.
talk to them, and it'll be a good time.
Wow, man. It was just the brotherhood with that, man. Just listen to you
Hmm.
earlier saying that, you're wounded and you're telling your guys, I'm sorry, I gotta leave.
Hmm.
that's a brotherhood there, man. That is really a
Yeah.
brotherhood. Holy cow, man. Now, did you
Yeah.
did you ever go through therapy at all or anything like that? With the PTSD or anything like that, or was it all just, hey, you're in the MMA and help you burn some of that stuff off?
I had to do a little bit. I have severe anxiety,
Mhm.
um, and to a point where I thought I was having a heart attack at one point, and it ended up being a panic attack. And so,
Well,
because of that, my doctor made me go see um, do some therapy and all of that. But I haven't done a whole lot. I just like I like talking to you. I like
yeah,
talking to my fellow, guys that are in either some kind of combat sport, some
yeah,
guy or Marines. I don't like talking to a therapist,
yeah. I
and
get it.
so
I
I'll
get
do it
it.
if I'll do it if I have to.
Yeah,
But this helps me, and so I mean
yeah.
I've done a little bit when I was forced to, but I don't really just because of that stuff, not because of any other issues, just that
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I get it, man. But you never know who you step on the mat with, man. You really don't. Because
Yeah,
when I saw saw your video you sent when you had our shirt on, I was like, oh man, that's pretty
yeah,
awesome. And then your wife had said something. Because she was ordering something, and I was like, hey man, that was
yeah,
awesome. Whatever, thanks, whatever. And then she was like, you
yeah,
should hear my husband's story. And I'm like, I want to hear his story. Because you never know who you step on the mat with, man. Because at our gym in Illinois, there's police officers, military guys, there's women, men, there's everybody. You never know that
yeah.
backstory, man. That's pretty awesome. Now, does your wife train with you too, or she's like, "That's your thing, get out of the house"?
No, that's your thing. Get out of the house. Yes.
Oh man, but that's so cool, man. That is cool. Now, what's your next step now? Because what belt level are you out there?
Just white belt right now.
Listen to you, just white belt, dude. I don't know what anybody. I don't care what anybody. That's the roughest belt I think, man. I'm telling you, because you're
Yeah,
always the nail, man. Holy cow.
you are. I've been, and like I said, I've been sitting there, and I do think sometimes it's a little bit of, I don't know if it's sandbagging because I'm not going to promote myself, but
Yeah,
because I wasn't doing just jujitsu and I don't do gi.
yeah,
Um, and so, but in the tournaments, I'd always tell them I'll go up a belt or whatever. I
yeah,
don't care.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And they're like, no, stay right there.
yeah, stay. Or they'll move me up if there's not enough in that weight class and at that,
Yeah,
yeah, the bracket.
that's awesome, man. Man,
Yeah.
so listen, now, does your wife understand, the mindset that you need, all the things you're going through that you need the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, you need that outside?
Does. She always tells me that there's a different smile that I have when I'm around my Marine brothers or I'm doing something MMA or Jiu-Jitsu
Yeah,
related. Like whenever I'll corner some of the guys at the local fights, and she does that smile just being a part of that. Or when I'm doing the tournament, she said your smile is different. I can't explain it, but it's different, and I can
yeah.
tell that you need that.
Yeah, that's cool. A
Yeah,
little bit ago, you
yeah,
said, how you get with your buddies, you guys, get stupid,
mm,
and and I
mm,
think guys have a different way of showing our love for each other. We literally
mm.
talk shit to each other all day long,
Oh yeah,
but
oh
that's it's
yeah,
different. Again, for friends, I'm telling her, I was like, listen, you girls won't understand what we do, man. We get there and we treat each other like crap, talk down each other, but we love each other. You know,
yeah, exactly. Oh yeah,
get your face put in the mat and they're talking smack to you.
oh yeah, all the time.
All the
Yeah.
time. Oh man, I got my buddy Vic. I've been out here for almost a month, but my buddy Vic, he's the mat enforcer. I've seen him just run through some guys, and I'm always talking smack to him, like, I'm taking you out today, and he's like, come on, old man, let's see what you got. And I'm dumped on my face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was Tuna was a wrestler in college, and so I always tell him that I'm gonna get by the end of this year I'm getting a takedown on you, and I've been trying. I haven't got it yet.
That's what you give him in the parking lot, point over there, or something like
Yeah, yeah,
that. Grab him.
yeah.
Oh man, now are you into shooting at all? Are you in guns? You still?
Oh yeah. I shoot all the time. My wife and I have a membership to the local range here, and I shoot rifle and pistol.
Nice, man. Yeah.
I did have to learn to shoot left-handed because I went blind in my right eye, and
So you
so
switch
I
over, yeah.
switched over. Yeah, and that was difficult, but I just stuck to fundamentals and feel like I shoot fairly well.
That's pretty cool, man. It's cool you got your wife doing it
Yeah,
with you, man. That's something that you guys should do
yeah,
together, man. That's
yeah. She loves to shoot,
yeah.
which sometimes I'm like, hey, that's cool. Sometimes I just want to go by myself.
Yeah, let me go shoot. What you doing? She got a pink bag and everything,
Uh,
pink guns.
Oh yeah.
I was hoping
Oh yeah,
to.
and then she loads them so slow, and I'm
Oh,
just
that's the
load the
worst.
bags. Yes,
Come on, give me your
just here,
magazine.
give
Let's
me
go.
that.
Right.
Yeah, give me that. Let me load your mag for you.
I
And
know,
then you
right?
start loading.
I'm the same. I get people, and I'm always trying to help them with shooting. I love guns. I love that side. So I have some
Yeah.
females that I try to help, and that have them
Mhm.
pick their own guns out, and it's always either purple or pink. And I'm like, no, get a black gun. You're
Yeah.
trying to conceal this thing. You can't put
Yeah.
beads on it or nothing.
Yeah. She's got trying to think what the 43 or 40. It's a 9 mil single stack, so it's smaller.
A 43X.
And yeah, that might be right.
Okay.
And it's Tiffany blue. And I
Oh,
was like, okay,
okay. Whatever
okay,
you want.
whatever you want.
Drop a bad guy and look cute doing it. Pew.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always like, these things supposed to be concealed. What are you doing?
I know. Oh, I know.
Oh man, that is awesome, brother. So, what's your favorite bourbon, brother?
Um,
Don't say just
I
yes.
got yes.
That's me.
No, I was trying to think. I mean, it's all over the place. I
That's
would
right.
probably say anything from Heaven Hill is always really good.
Ah,
But
yeah,
I've been drinking this. It's hard to get a hold of it. Old Kirk, which is it's from Willet Distillery but they were bottling their own stuff. So it's supposedly the same stuff that's in the purple top,
yeah,
but it's a lot cheaper.
yeah,
And I've been able to find a couple bottles of that, and it's really good. And I just got a bottle, and then my buddy has one that I'm gonna go over and hang out with him tomorrow
yeah,
and watch some baseball and
yeah.
have cigars and drink some of that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's good stuff,
Yeah,
man. Like I say, we did a
yeah.
couple of distilleries out here. We went yesterday. What was it? Log Hill, and
Hmm.
it was a cool little place. But they have bourbon, but everybody's got bourbons, and I love have the ones that I
Mm.
love. Woodford Reserve, Buffalo Trace,
Hmm.
the main ones. But they have
Yeah,
a gin. I don't know if you like gin, man.
I'm not
Dude,
a big gin fan.
dude, I'm telling you, me neither until I tried this from Log Hill, man. It's like cured or whatever it is in a bourbon barrel. And I'm telling you, dude, half that bottle was gone last night. I tell you that.
Wow.
we were we were
I
having,
always feel like gin is like just rubbing alcohol
yeah,
taste.
well, that's
It's just
vodka for me, man. I taste that. It's like,
yeah,
that's gross,
uh,
man.
yeah.
Oh man, what kind of cigars you like, brother?
I have Liga Privada number 9 is my
Oh, that's a
favorite.
very good one, man.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's one I always get. Well, I get more than I say special occasion. I buy it all the time. I
Yeah.
just buy two at a time so my wife doesn't yell at me.
Right. You gotta just tell
Alec
us
Bradley,
therapy.
Matt. Yeah, I like Alec Bradley. The Magic Toast is really good. That one's
Okay.
good.
So you don't like a
Yeah,
sweeter cigar. You like more of a bitter bite a little
medium
bit.
to full.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. Because I used to
yeah.
love the acid band, the Cuba
Oh yeah,
Cuba,
yeah,
and I would dip that in
yeah.
my bourbon while I'm smoking and drinking. Man, it was just, oh gosh. Let me stop because I want one now. I'm still trying to get that tickle out of my throat from last night, man. It's crazy, brother.
Yeah.
Oh man. But man, this is awesome, man. I am so thankful for you, brother. I appreciate you more than you know, man. This
Thank you.
this has been really cool, man. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
You need to do more of these, man. You need to get out there and tell your story everywhere, man. Because I know I saw some of your pictures, and I'm like, wow, this brother need to put some stuff out, man. Are you doing any books at all?
There's a guy working on a book that it's I think it's out there for pre-sale now that
Okay.
and I'll send over the link.
Yeah.
It's called Unrelenting. And so he was spending a couple years working with us and getting our stories. There was a book that went out a few years back that wasn't as accurate and we didn't like. And then
Okay.
the History Channel did a little one of their shootout series, and it was kind of close, but we always said we want to get our real story told and not have someone change it
Yeah.
for, and so he was working on that. And so um, I am. I'll be happy to get that out there for the families as well. I think because
Yeah.
there were some stories that had changed, and they're like, "Hey, we've heard one thing, or we heard the other," and so
Mm.
this is how it happened. And obviously, we're not going to go into a bunch of detail with them because they don't need to hear that, but
Right.
we'll tell them enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I tell you what, man, before we get you out of here, tell us everything. Tell us how they can find your book. Tell us how they can find you to get you on other podcasts, where they can reach you out there and stuff. Because I think this is important, man. People should see what our guys do, our vets out there doing, man.
Yeah, so Unrelenting, it's out there on Amazon right now, and so you can pre-order it.
Okay.
And then for me, I mean, it I'm on all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, everything. Jimmy Gentili, I think it's Jimmy 0311 because I was 0311,
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Marine infantryman is 0311. And so they can get a hold of me on there, reach out. Man, if they find my wife will talk your ear off and then get
Well, that's
get
how
me
I
to do
found you,
whatever.
man, through your wife, man. She
Yeah.
sent the message and she was ordering
No.
a shirt or something, and it was just like, man, she's so
Yeah.
cool to what she was saying about you, man. Wow. That's good stuff.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
and I love talking about this part of it,
Yeah.
not for myself, but to help others. That's always what I've been trying to say is, hey, if my story and how I've worked through it, and it hasn't been easy, like I said before, as they told me it'd be a long journey,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be easy. It's going to suck, and just keep pushing through it. And if I can talk to people, no matter what they're going through, that's really important to me.
That's awesome, man. You're such a giver, man. Once again, brother, I thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you taking some of your
Yeah.
day to, after you get beat up this morning in training, come out and still get our podcast here, man. But guys, this
Yeah.
has been Jimmy Gentile. I said it. I said it
All
right,
right.
man.
Yeah.
Guys, find this guy. You heard his story. It's been a great story. And man, I appreciate your service. I appreciate everything about you, man. You keep doing what you're
All
doing,
right.
keeping a good fight. And maybe I'll meet you on the mat someday. Get choked out by you. It'd be great.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. You take care of yourself. We'll talk soon.
All right.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care, brother.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you.
That's awesome.
Oh, man.